The value of education isn't getting the A. The value of the education is the knowledge itself. I had actually turned down like an internship offer to focus on the club. And I was like, holy shit, I just wasted all my time.
Meet the bioengineer rewriting the rules of human capability. From a career-ending injury to the front lines of the AI revolution, Michael Iwashima is building the technology that didn't exist yesterday.
Santa Clara University. And further, never has there been such a major collaboration between the organizations at Santa Clara University with respect to AI.
5 minutes, I had completed an analysis for him that would have taken him hours. And he was like, what the heck? I hope it can make healthcare much more cheaper, accessible to humans, much more personalized.
As AI becomes more present in our lives and work, where do you being still human matter most?
I think it's...
Welcome to Still Human, a bi-weekly podcast by Ocean Studio featuring thoughtful conversation with builders, creator, and thinker working with AI in real life. Rather than focusing on hype or optimization, we explore how technologies affect our time, focus, creativity, and sense of self, and where being human still matter most. I'm your host, Perkin. Today, I'm joined by Michael Iwashima, a bioengineer who turned a career-ending soccer injury into a mission to build technology that didn't exist before. From brain-controlled video games for people who were paralyzed to 3D printable sensor that help farmers detect crop disease. He's currently a PhD candidate at Purdue University and the founder of SCU AI Collaborate. Michael, welcome to the Still Human podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so glad to see you again.
Yeah,
what's been occupying your attention or curiosity lately at Purdue?
Oh man, well, I've definitely been investing a lot of time into the research and I've been getting into like quantum. I think there's actually a lot of potential for quantum in the future, not only in quantum computing, but in something called quantum sensing. Besides that, I'm also trying to work on like a startup of mine, detecting like mold inside of houses, just doing a bunch of random side projects. I'm also trying to build have you heard of the Claude vending machine experiment?
No, what is that?
Okay.
About that.
So essentially, some researchers tried to take Claude AI and have it run all of the logistics of a vending machine. So, keeping stock, changing the price, like simple things, but over time. It actually turned out, it made some money, but there were some flaws, like one time it bought tungsten and put it in the vending machine. Really odd. But so I'm trying to take that idea and apply it to farming and have the AI run the logistics of taking care of plants. So taking care of the water, the nutrients, the light exposure, just a bunch of random fun experiments that interest my brain.
That's really awesome. I really enjoy seeing when people start exploring AI into different discipline and then like trying to find some gap between and then apply to the field that they are really passionate about. I do a little bit of research about you. You talk about like the one-of-one education model where AI handles knowledge transmission and humans spark curiosity. Can you walk me through that kind of vision?
Yes, I think I was like way back when AI was like first kind of growing up. Everyone was like kind of like, oh, is AI gonna hurt education, make everybody dumb? And I think it definitely actually has. But I don't think it has to be that way. And I think AI can actually be used to give people access to like a one-on-one tutor that they previously would have not had access to unless they had a bunch of money. And the reason why I think this is so important is because personally, in my experience, the most informative, the times where I just learned so much is when I went to my professor's office hours and just talked to him for like an hour, 2 hours, not even about like homework necessarily, but just like the concepts of like physics or chemistry or whatever it is. And being able to go like so deep into the concept with an expert, I think really is the magic of education and where education should be focused. Maybe we're realizing now the system of education itself needs to be changed because before it was optimized for grades, assignments, all these things, but now you can easily get an A without putting in the work, right?
Right.
You just have to be a little bit sneaky, maybe. That's where the work has to go. So, but the value of education isn't getting the A. the value of the education is the knowledge itself, you know? So like now I think we need to change our education system, the way it works, to optimize one's learning and curiosity and exploration rather than just completing assignments and getting A's on assignments. And I think AI can be assistant for that.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of trying to emphasize on the actual learning and not the results, right? In the progress, how much did you actually learn throughout the process, no matter like what grade you get? Is that what you're trying to emphasize on?
Exactly. And like giving people the opportunity to explore, because like people don't love all the subjects they're taught. Some people don't love math and some people don't love English, and that's okay, but give people the ability to explore what they really love.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cultural shock for me personally, how American culture that it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's related to individuality. Like there's so many freedom and people can do whatever they want, or like explore whatever, or like maybe like the culture is more open, that kids can have more space to explore their passion. But like, for example, in Asia, our parents are more, you're from Japan, right? You're originally from Japan. So, well, like
my dad was from Japan, but
it's very different. And I think the part where like allowing kids to have more exploration, it's actually interesting, kind of spark their curiosity and so many different stuff. But at the same time, wouldn't that be a, risk to our society if everyone just choose whatever they want, and eventually we're gonna need someone else to do those things that might not be that interesting? Does that make sense?
Right. Well, I think that might not necessarily be an issue, because in society as a whole, education fits in a small part of it. But society, there's lots more needs and demands outside just education. The optimization cycle for society is pretty much money. And wherever there's money, there's need. Certain sectors, like farming, maybe there's not as many people are in, but there's a huge need for it, right? We always need food. The problem I'm focused on is actually like the manual labor part. Like farmers in California, let's say, for example, they have a minimum wage of like $16, but it can go up to all the way to like $30 an hour. And I mean, it's a manual labor job. It's hard. It's just not sustainable for agriculture. The manual labor takes up 40% of the expenses on a specific sector called specialty crops, which is insane. And so I think in those cases, there's a lot of value to potentially actually automate that with AI and robotics. To your question, like, okay, maybe is it going to hurt society? Society's always going to figure out solutions for where there needs to be solutions, and that's just how it all works. So I would not be concerned about that. Okay.
I actually have like way more questions on the agricultural part, because I remember like Elon Musk said, in the future, there's no point of going to work, right? Like everything gonna be free, because Jensen Huang said everything is moving, it's gonna be automate. And if everything is automate, there's no labor needed. And if there's no labor, meaning we have endless resource, endless supply, meaning like no one have to work, and there's like so many supply, and the demand is still there. So it's very interesting to dive really deep into it, but I'm kind of wanting to bring that question to the next one. So what's something AI related you didn't expect to rely on as much as you do now?
I don't think I've ever actually expected anything from AI. I think I've always approached it like exploring. Okay. Wherever I found it to be useful, I just started using it. And it wasn't a surprise to me necessarily. It was kind of like, that's just what made sense. But I think two areas that I would not have thought been possible was, one, being able to essentially tell it to write some code, tell it the concept of the code, and be able to output that as code. And then I think the second thing, the ability to take a large bank of like text information and ask it, where is the key points of information in this large text? I can take a 50-page legal document and find exactly the tiny bits that are maybe red flags that I should be concerned about in a matter of minutes. Here's actually another thing. I'll put one more. Analysis of data. I surprised my dad with this. I took, very complex biological data that's in really high dimensional spaces, and takes hours to analyze. I took all of my dad's data. He's a researcher in like immunology, like human immune system. Took all of his data, put it into, I think, ChatGPT, and in 5 minutes, I had completed an analysis for him that would have taken him hours. And he was like, what the heck? I'm not surprised, but I think those are very impressive results.
Okay, that's fair enough. All of the large language model, they're competing. There's always like the leadership board, like they're competing and it's getting better and better and better. And I like the mindset you have is like open-minded and just wasn't expecting anything, but just exploring stuff.
Can I say one area I'm disappointed though?
Okay, yeah, fair. Yeah.
Okay, so it's great at like one-shot tasks. You tell it, you put it in the chat box, you tell it to do something, it outputs it that. But if you try to have it perform a task over time, right? So multiple queries, I'll take the planting one. Okay, check on the plants in the morning, do whatever, give it water, whatever it needs, check on it at night. And then do this over multiple weeks, months, years, etc. It's not able to like understand in a way progress and changes over time. Like it understands what you put in its context box the moment you type it, but once things get too far back, it doesn't ever remember it again.
Really?
At least, okay, kind of like it's not exactly there is work to improve that. And actually, maybe you've noticed, like, if you have your own ChatGPT account or something, maybe it remembers like facts previously about you. Let's say, for example, it accidentally overwatered the plants from doing one specific action, and then 2 months later, it might just do the same mistake. It's because it's outside of its context window now to be able to like know that that was a mistake. There is something about like reasoning over time. As humans, right, we can reflect, we go to bed, we kind of like remember different events, and then we kind of think, oh, maybe I could have done this, I could have done that. Like, AI doesn't do that right now. It can't reason over time.
Yeah, I see where you're going and what you're talking. Right. There was a company, they asked large language model to take care of a plant, and they did not give any context. It's basically just tell the robots, okay, take care of this plant, make sure it grow. And then somewhat at one of the day, the plant is almost die and lack of water, and somehow the large language model will be able to realize that it need more water and give it more water, and eventually it learns. So I'm not like specialized in that, but like I just see some news and stuff. You've seen that before.
I saw that too. It's the Soul Project. It's by like I think his name was like Marco something. I did see that. I was a little bit skeptical. I'm gonna be honest. Like he said it updated the Arduino code and did some changes, and like they didn't go into detail about like how it happened. I'm sure something along the lines. I tried to look into that more, and I couldn't find out exactly the details behind it. So maybe it did. Maybe it can like figure out and reason and adjust, but it is still, I would say, generally a weakness of the models right now.
Okay. Now it's good to talk with people with more specialties. Now you can validate that like that kind of news is fake, or like it doesn't provide enough detail to validate it's actually a truth. I have another question. You wrote about execution culture, the gap between brainstorming and actually shipping. Where did you see that friction most, and how did you try to fix it? I think it's something like way back when you're still back in Santa Clara.
I think I interacted with a lot of people who come up with ideas. We tried to host a lot of events where people would brainstorm different ways to use AI. Back in like 2022, 2023, real applications that help people. And we came up with good ideas, like one guy had an idea to use the AI to analyze your class recordings and then make notes for you. And, I'm sure that already exists now, but, things that were useful. But so many people just stopped working on it after like 1 or 2 weeks. And to be completely honest, that was really confusing to me, because I'm someone like, I do things, like I think of ideas and I do them. I don't know if I actually solved that question yet. I think there is something about like, there's some people who just have an innate, drive and desire to go and create and do things like you are with all the things that you're doing. And now this podcast. It's amazing. And I think it's actually just important to find those people and connect with those people and build off of each other's energy. One thing I will say that I think I have learned is to think more critically about an idea before you do it, because you can have a $1 million solution. It's like a $10,000 problem, right? Mm-hmm. And that is a waste of your time, essentially. Thinking about what problems actually matter is something I've just learned more.
That's a really great answer. I'm also interested in lots of stuff. And the other day I talked with another design thinking founders. I was talking about like, I just realized I have so many halfway done projects as well. Like I've been doing so much stuff, kind of self-reflecting. Why does that happen? I think one of the key component it's that you mentioned, it's you have to think through the ideas. When should people start, pivoting something else?
I think my answer to that question, I don't think you can actually have one defined answer. I think it's more so something you would learn through trial and error in a way. And I think you're supposed to learn as you go. As you fail, you're supposed to learn how to do better. And you're supposed to reflect. I've heard so much that all these amazing billionaire founders, everyone told them they were insane and their idea was ridiculous at some point.
Right.
And it's like, you can always reason about an idea, but like, it's really maybe even impossible to know 100% where it can go.
I totally agree with you. An entrepreneurial journey, right? You learn through the process. And
I think here's another thing is you should keep going as hard as you can and try to get to an end goal with everything. Like with AI Collaborate, a year in, I think, around a year in, like no one respected the club. Like everyone thought it was a joke. We were just a bunch of friends doing trying to we didn't even know what we were doing, to be honest. I had actually turned down like an internship offer to focus on the club. And I was like, holy shit, I just wasted all my time. Like, what am I doing? I was like, okay, like I've committed so hard. Maybe I should just stop this and focus now on my education, try to get a job, whatever. Actually, I talked with my mom. I think she told me, like, she advised me, like, you know what? I've put so much effort in. Let me give it one more quarter, try it with my best. If it doesn't work out, then, shift. Then I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Note of all the mistakes we made and we'll fix it. Told everyone, you know what? I'm going to need like 150% from all of you because we need to turn this club around. Actually, Brandon was on that team with me as well. And he was very determined. And, then we started to get like serious projects going. And trying to get serious courses, teaching people. From there, it really did start to build something that was beneficial. And had I not like just tried my hardest to like make it work, AI Collaborate would not exist today,
Exactly. No, you have to share this story with more like future like members, because I think this is the very key components of how a club or an entity that keep going. It's the story, especially the founder story, that keep the core together.
The value of what you're providing and believing in its value. Like the vision that I had, we need to take AI and put it into different places. And like I knew we needed that. Maybe not everyone saw that. Maybe everyone saw like, I need to get AI into a tech company. But
When does this AI thing start becoming big? Is it when you found the club or even before?
AI first became big, I think, when ChatGPT came around. And I started the club before ChatGPT became really big. And even when ChatGPT came out, I wasn't focused on ChatGPT. I was actually focused on like older versions of AI, which...
That's a really great response. And I respect that you giving up all this internship and like committed to a club. We wish like we could bring everyone with the same mindset to the club and to, bring that everyone together.
To be honest, like maybe that's not like a good decision, because maybe I should have got an internship. Like,
turns out it's a good one, man. Like without your decision,
it just turned out to be that way. It was an amazing decision. It's not always the case, and that's why the entrepreneurial journey and the decision to keep going is very personal.
So, like on this podcast, we emphasize a lot on like human level instead of like AI technical aspects. So I got this specific question for you. What human skill do you think becomes more important, not less, as AI improves?
I think this is a challenging question because it kind of depends on where AI can potentially go.
Imagine AGI.
If there's an AI that can do what the brain does perfectly and maybe even better and faster, I don't know what is most important, because like on any like thought level, like it's uncomputable. In any physical domain, like physical AI is coming into the world and will be able to interact with the world like humans interact. That's, I think, 100% going to happen. In that case, maybe honestly, community building. There's a couple, I think, places in the world you can actually create value. One is technology. You can make a new technology that's 10 times better than what exists. Another place you can actually make value is by developing a community and a network. You can start a club, and that creates a lot of value for a lot of people. You could start maybe a rally or a petition for signing some law into the local government. Connecting humans to humans provides a lot of value in itself. And maybe that skill will become more important. I think if we look at the state right now, I think one of the most fundamental skills that will be important is the ability to maybe just critically think, to be honest. Think about the sources of information you listen to. Think about maybe their validity, right? You shouldn't just read the words and assume they are true, which is very hard to do, actually. It's even harder to find out and quickly think about the sources. So also paying attention to what sources of information you do spend your time and energy on. I want to shout out the book 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. He goes very deep into that concept.
I'll take a look.
0 to 1. And I think that actually builds off what I was talking about in the very beginning, is building one's curiosity and exploring something and really fuel that, because the only way to get to that point where you can think of something new is to go so deep into something you're so curious about and really understand it fundamentally, not just be able to throw all the technical words around and act like you know what's actually going on when you only know 5 or 10%.
100% agree with you, Michael. I think especially this era, there are so many noise and so many information. When you're trying to learn everything, you kind of learn nothing.
True.
When you find the stuff that you're actually passionate about, you start diving deeper. You find the thing that actually matter the most. Agree with the community things. That's always my passion, my vision. Why I keep doing this and that, connecting people. Yeah. The human level connection is actually the one most important part of any progression of AI. What makes that connection really valuable is the individual story like this. When I hear your story and you see my vision and we all connected with something similar or something different, and we exchange that information. Kind of running out of time if we talk a lot.
I've got time if you need it.
Your plant saver sensor is designed to be 3D printable, right? So farmer in resource poor setting can manufacture it locally. What drives that philosophy of accessibility?
Okay, so actually, I want to put it. That is a bad business model. It is not a good business model. It was just got to that. Okay, I'll be honest. I don't think like that anymore. Okay, I think accessibility and 3D printability is important for people to explore. I think farmers don't actually need what I built for my senior design project. But that's where I actually think I shifted to detecting mold. And actually, this kind of gets to your original question, when do you know to shift? One indicator is money. If there's no money, there's no need, it's useless. So shift it to where there actually is money and need.
Has working with paralyzed patients changed how you think about what human capability actually means? Remember you designed that headset?
Yeah, I had gone to Australia to work under a professor named Dr. Sam John, who was one of the founding engineers of a company called Synchron, which is a brain-computer interface that allows paralyzed people to, control, different things, control computer. And the question, so my project was essentially a video can control something you didn't need surgery. You just put it on your head, and someone who's cerebral palsy, where they can't really control their limbs, can just kind of use their eyes to control maybe Space Invaders. Very simple game. Mm-hmm. That was interesting to kind of think about how some people, some functions are just not available. That can be very limiting. I guess I'm no longer working on things in the area, but right. I guess something else then I wonder about is maybe how are normal humans limited, and where can we improve our own abilities, kind of supercharge humans, on the other end of that. Like the Neuralink. And, yeah, kind of the Neuralink ideas. Implanting the in your head. It'd be really interesting to develop technologies to better maybe understand, monitor humans, then I'm very interested. I'm very interested in like monitoring the gut microbiome, because that I think has a large impact on our brains and physical health and different things. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, keep going off.
I have a last question for you. And it's kind of related to what you just said. What's a future with AI in healthcare and agriculture that you hope for?
I hope, honestly, that AI can make healthcare just so unbelievably like cheap and fast. I think it's absurd how much we need to pay doctors to just go visit them and get a diagnosis, and they don't even care about you, and they give you 5 minutes of their time to go on to the next patient. And I think AI can actually very much do that. I think that's what OpenAI is doing now. So I hope it can make healthcare much more cheaper, accessible to humans, much more personalized. You can have an AI look at you through all of your history.
I think I see a research, like it's very recent. They say like there are patients that start using AI for consulting for healthcare rather than going to their, their doctors.
I've been doing that since like it first came out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's really interesting, right? Like people start trusting AI, the consulting, the diagnose.
Yeah. I mean,
crazy.
Even the doctors are consulting AI. Yeah. Like they'll ask you questions and they might leave for a second. They're going back to a computer, typing what they found on a computer and getting results back. You can tell the AI everything versus like a human, right? Like you might forget things. Other human might be impatient. I think there's certain areas where like I still want doctors. Like when my baby's delivered, like I want a human doctor, not
a human doctor, right? I think like in knowledge base, AI is definitely, especially it can cross. For example, a doctor cannot know everything in medical field, but like with AI, it can cross reference everything, and it's way more effective, right?
Exactly, and it has access to all the scientific papers ever published.
Yeah, exactly.
I just hope that they can make it more accurate because I think it's still flawed very much.
Yeah, I have last questions. Okay. So it's a signature questions for this podcast. As AI becomes more present in our lives and work, where do you feel being still human matter most? What do you think about?
I think curiosity. I think it's curiosity. I don't think AI, at least, is programmed to be curious. Maybe you can like make some algorithm, explore the highest unknown spaces, and maybe, but I don't think it's doing that right now.
Yeah, I think when we see curiosity in AI, it's probably AGI, right? It start like maybe very interesting seeing different stuff and start learning from what
it'll be very hard because there's many, like there's the time issue, thinking over time, there's the curiosity issue, there's reflection, like there's many, but if we can get, maybe AGI would be curious. I don't know.
Okay, Michael. Before we close, I ask every guest this. If you could leave one question for the next guest, someone else working with AI, what would you ask them? And since you are the first one, so you have to come up.
I have to get a good one. There's a concern that AI becomes adversarial, where it will lie to humans in order to improve its own survivability. Right now, I think many people, and many people who are in AI use AI to get their information from there. How will you, or what are you doing to actually ensure the information you're getting is accurate and not being used against you?
So it's more on the privacy aspect, data privacy, personal data.
I think my question is more actually on how do you actually know what to fundamentally believe as true and what affect your actions?
Like you kind of like wrap everything up in that single question. I see that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like people start massively using AI and losing their losing their part where they should be critical thinking or being more creative. And because I feel like human is designed or like tend to do something easier, go for the lazy way. If there's something more easier, why don't you just why be bother, right? Why don't you just choose the easy way? So it always comes back to the questions: when should you decide using your AI, and when should you reserve your creativity and critical thinking? That's a really good one. Yeah, I'll leave that question right there. Michael, your work is actually amazing and you have done so much.
Thank you.
So where can listener find or follow your work if they are like interested in your stuff? The agriculture or like the sensor?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't post much.
Yeah, exactly. I know. You are not active.
See, I hate social media. I'm going to be completely honest. I think I will probably post the most on LinkedIn. And like people are like, I think I might be forced to start posting on X. Okay. I don't have an X account yet, so I can't like reference. Maybe I'll just make my name like Michael Iwashima or something. I don't know.
Michael, thank you for your time. Perkin. It's been an amazing episode.
Yeah, thank you as well, Perkin. And this is amazing. I'm very excited for your podcast and where this goes. And I'm excited to see where your creativity takes you.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Have a good night.